Welcome, you're in the shop with Rob. Hi guys, I've got this new project that I've been working on, and what it is a 439cc engine that came out of a Furman 8,000 watt generator with electric start. But what had happened was the fellow that owned it previous to me ran it without any engine oil and therefore caused catastrophic failure, which snapped the connecting rod and blew a hole right through the top of the case, as you can see. So what I have done, and this is strictly an experiment, I've put some JB Weld on there, and I will show you the inside so you can see. The JB Weld is right there as well. And you can see a slight outline of where the part of the crack was. And this is essentially all filled in now with JB Weld. And I've also had to JB Weld the cylinder. As you can see near the bottom of the cylinder, right there, that's where the connecting rod, I guess, slammed into the side of the cylinder wall and took a chunk out of it there. So this has all been filled as well with JB Weld, and I'm hoping that this is going to work. So I made this a little bit proud when I poured it in, and what I did was sanded it down. I have this big drum sander thingamajiggy that goes on an oscillating sander, but I ended up using this, believe it or not, I stuck this in a drill, and I spun it around through the top just to get the proud side off of that JB Weld. Also, the piston was also damaged when the connecting rod crashed into the top of the case, and the piston crashed into the side of the cylinder wall. So what I've done is I've JB welded this as well. Don't know if this is going to work. I'm hoping it will, but don't know. So when I put this thing back together, I am going to put the piston the opposite way inside there, without the damaged side to the top. So I'll flip it around, and it should, I'm hoping it should work. There's no distinguishing factors of whether this piston can go in either way. It is asymmetrical all the way around, no distinguishing features, so it should go in either way. So I'm just to let you know, this is the JB Weld that I've been using, which is like contractor grade, because it comes in 10 ounces, and I've used almost, I'm going to say about 8 ounces on repairing the case and the cylinder wall and the piston. So I'm hoping it works. But also to let you guys know that when I took the crank out of the case, the journal had aluminum. It seemed like it was embedded into the steel of this crank. So what I did was I soaked the crank in muriatic acid for about half an hour, and it dissolved all that aluminum off of there. And then I put it in a bath of baking soda and water just to neutralize it. Took it out, dried it, and then sprayed on some WD-40 just so it doesn't rust up until I get the new connecting rod for the piston. But once I get that new connecting rod, we'll put it back together and we'll see what happens with it. And also, since I had the engine apart, I've taken the head apart and redone the valves, cleaned them up. I lapped the valves back in place, and of course now I'm just waiting for that connecting rod to put it back together. So I'm hoping this is going to work. Don't really know. It sure seems strong, but don't really know because it's going to be a lot of pressure on there. This seems to be pretty hard. Seems like it's as hard as the aluminum. Not quite sure, but we'll see what happens. Give me another bird's eye view of that. You can see it at the top side there. There it is. So stick around for part 2 and keep an eye on the upcoming video on this, because I really like to get this thing working. This engine run with the JB Weld on there. So we're actually going to try it and see what happens. So as you can see, the engine's been all put back together. New connecting rod, and made up this little temporary fuel system for it. So we'll turn the fuel on right now and give it a minute to fill up the carburetor, and we'll give it a start. Okay, we just put the choke on, and I made up this temporary start button so we can go through the solenoid on the starter. So we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. That's a good sign. It fired off.
I think I was looking on the ground.
What's going on here? Oh, the foot came off.
Funny, funny. Okay. Oh.